All right, so welcome back in, everyone, to another grand chapter breakdown of One Piece. Today, we're going to be talking about chapter 1073, and we have two brand new hosts in the show as well. We have our first new host, Sai, that is me. I am the man that you might have heard about in Mythos as the man who has the most flattest feet on Earth. Every time I take a step, it is like 5,000 slaps. And let me tell you, Gaia is not too happy about that one. And the second new host we have is not Parvision, despite how much he looks like him. It is actually Jay Garcia. I was automatically thinking about the Gorosei. We have Jay Garcia here. You might know him from Disneyland. He is the roller coaster inspector. Rumor has it that he's inspected over 10,000 coasters, and he's kept all the kids safe in the past 200 years. I don't know how he survived that long, but Jay Garcia, do you want to explain how that happened?
Yeah, so the plot twist the entire time was I was a Gorosei member, and this is actually Bonnie turned Parvision into a baby. So you guys don't get Parvision today.
That explains a lot.
Right. You heard your name, right, buddy?
Yeah,
he actually turned into
he heard Parvision and he was like, me?
Yeah. Where are my golden years? Bonnie, give them back.
Where's my YouTube channel?
Oh no,
but,
is Bonnie taking you away?
Oh, all reality, jokes aside, Parvision is a YouTuber here on youtube.com, and so is myself. Yeah. So with that being said, with that brilliant introduction out of the way, we're going to just hop right into the chapter. We have the cover page of 1073, where we see Vegapunk creating absolute monstrosities. He has two tanks shooting out flowers. And let me tell you, I don't like it. I don't like this one bit, Par.
Why?
What a brilliant mind he has. And he's wasting it on flowers and tanks. Like what is the man doing?
I think
he should be creating artificial devil fruits, weapons of mass destruction, nukes. He should, be creating like giant atomic bombs. I think this is a waste of his talents. And I'm glad you agree.
Oh, yeah. I would say the scariest part of this panel is, in fact, Vegapunk. Bro, that face, I don't know what Oda was doing.
That is bad cheesing, bro. Yeah, it's like a cursed image.
Yeah, that is what it is. It's a cursed image. Like I was telling people, because when I opened this up on stream, you click the TCB thing and you see the top half of Vegapunk's head. Like, I was telling people, it's so funny how, if you're a One Piece reader, that's all you need to know. That's Vegapunk. But, that's anybody VP. Outside, if you're a casual viewer, whatever, you might not know. And, Naruto people, how do you know who that is? Just off of what even is that? And then, I was all about that. I was all proud. Oh, man, I'm a huge One Piece fan. I scrolled down. I was like, oh, no. Scroll back up. I was like, oh, fuck, this shit's terrifying.
Imagine somebody's never read One Piece before, and the first character they see is Vegapunk. Not like current day Vegapunk, they see this Vegapunk, out of context. Imagine there's a Twitter post of some girl scantily clad, and then they post Vegapunk's picture right below it, just the tongue out, wide-eyed, smiling. That's gonna be a meme.
Memes.
This is gonna be a meme.
No,
I guarantee you.
Vegapunk thirsting after thirst trap memes.
This is the Vegapunk thirst trap meme. I can already see it happening.
It's gonna be bro down bad and then Vegapunk's face is there.
He's just smiling, and the worst part is that he looks like he's kind of blushing, but I think that's just his stash coming in.
Or it's
there's something going on here, man.
Maybe Oda didn't draw this one, maybe he didn't, but
maybe it's his assistants.
When you take in all of the panel into, it's he has this he's haha, I did this, it looks like he's haha, I did this crazy thing, and then Caesar, Queen, and Judge are yikes, don't associate us with you,
Whoa,
something
Vegapunk, she's a 2 out of 10. What are you doing? Don't simp that hard.
Oh no.
That's funny.
Oh no. And I guess the other thing that I was interested in was Oda has been referencing real life so many times, and obviously Nobel Peace Prize is here.
Yeah.
But Ibel, is that going to be an important? Is Ibel going to be some person from the Void Century or some shit? I don't know.
That would be kind of dope. Ibel's the scientist or genius back from the Void Century.
Yeah, not to be mistaken with Pell, but Ibel.
Well, Pell is
Pell's
kind of
dad.
a treasure in the world of One Piece, though. So
yeah, for sure. We talked about him all the time.
That's how he survived that bomb. He transformed that bomb into a giant flower. It all makes sense now. So, going on to the chapter, though, we cut over to Kaku, Lucci, and Stussy, and we see something crazy. Lucci is a man amongst men. So, here's the thing. Lucci could have beat Stussy, right? We can all agree on that.
Can you just read out loud what chapter you're reading so the viewers know?
1073. This is chapter 1073, first 2 pages. We all know that from the first 2 pages that Lucci could easily beat Stussy, right?
Yeah, easily.
Like, he could have awakened, he could have done something. But I think that the reason why he got knocked down is simply because he wanted a taste of those lips.
Oh, that's what we're going with now.
That is the rhetoric I am going with. Stussy coming in for the kill and the bite marks, and Lucci is all about it. And what guy doesn't want to be bit on the neck? Am I right, Par?
You're saying Lucci let Kaku smash first. He gets sloppy seconds. That's what you're saying, bro.
No. I'm saying that Lucci and Kaku are a tag team.
That's what I'm saying.
But I wouldn't consider that sloppy seconds. I mean, Lucci's the big man here, right? I mean,
no, but whoever goes second, sloppy seconds.
Well, I mean, that's fair, but I mean, she didn't put on the lipstick when Kaku was around, right?
Yeah, but according to you,
reserved for Lucci.
According to you, she didn't even put on the lipstick.
She didn't, but he still got to touch the lipstick, and you know what? All I gotta say is that Lucci's living out the dream, right? Yeah. He took the hit, and you know what? Put any God-willing man in his position, and we'd all take the hit. Par, honestly, the first time I read this chapter, I thought Oda drew me in there, and I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy." How is this happening?
Me and you as Kaku and Lucci.
Yeah, we just fall for the attack.
Oh no, Stussy!
Stussy, please don't bite my neck.
My observation Haki didn't know that you were like an opponent to us.
My future sight isn't active right now. This is crazy. Watch it actually not have any sea stone in the actual lipstick, but he just says that to make it look better. He's like, "Oh, sea stone, no!" He just falls back. He's like, "Ah, God!" And then Stussy's like, "What? Like that was I left that at home."
Or she's using the second lipstick as we, confirmed on ours.
Yeah, it's nothing. God. No Kairoseki there. Lucci falling for this after image is kind of funny. Considering that I made the notion that Lucci has the 6 powers as well. Like he should know that this is possible, and yet he still fell for it, right? Like observation Haki took a day off. He just hit an absolute clone. Yeah, and then he went down for it, man. It's super sad to see. The Lucci fanboys, all 5 of us in the group chat are crying right now. We lost a big one. Okay, yeah. To be fair, a lot of people are saying, well, Lucci, he didn't stand a chance because of the Sea Stone. And you know what? I'll give it to him. Sea Stone is a lot of Devil Fruit users' weakness. Like, if you put Luffy in this scenario, he might go down too. Granted, I don't think Luffy would get caught by this. But the minute you touch Sea Stone to, any Devil Fruit user, it's kind of like, whoa. Like, you kind of win, right?
Yeah. I mean, and until I didn't even really think about this till now, but what we learned about a Wano, it's the degree of sea stone matters, right? You can lower
the density.
So this could be super dense, but then it's where did Stussy get lipstick sea stone? That's kind of crazy.
CP0, man, it's a priwage. I'd imagine if you're an assassin, you could get crazy good sea stone.
Yeah, but what we learned was that Wano is the source of all the the nails. Yeah. The nails, the jail cells, it seemed to be all sourced from Wano, and that must have been through Orochi, right? Orochi was working the Wano people down, giving out sea stone, right? But were they really making lipstick sea stone? Or is this a different source? Or do they have their own Wano? Imagine under Marriage Wild, there's more Wano samurais just there. Hey, wait, Luffy, you liberated us. Yeah.
No, imagine the Wano slaves in Marie Joie. They're I can't see the dawn, and they're underground. They're like, no matter how many days pass, I can't see the sunrise anymore.
Yeah, like low key,
They're
like
super
Oda
sad.
cut out panels where like at the fire festival, they were like, oh, like tomorrow we won't be able to see the sun, and then it like cuts to like the actual people who can never see the sun.
Yeah. You see Toko finally eating some red bean soup, and then we cut to some other people in Rijva who's not eating at all.
Yeah. The Gorosei
so
just sitting there like, he liberated the wrong Wano. Like,
yeah. The narrator box like, but this isn't a joyous day for all Wano citizens.
The best part about that is like that narrator box you just said is still true because Ibisu Town. Like,
yeah, I mean, Ibisu Town, we're just never gonna know what happened to him, man. Like, we literally left without saying goodbye to those dudes. From what we know, like, it could be introduced later, but as of right now, Ibisu Town kind of in the mud.
Yo, wait, when you said the narrator card, you said all of Wano isn't left smiling. That's out of pocket. Ibisu Town. Oh God.
It was the observation hockey. It was a future joke. So, going on though, Stussy says, I know how strong you boys are. Fighting you fair and square would have been stupid. So, it kind of implies that maybe she wouldn't have won that fight, which even then is kind of crazy to think about, considering she is a clone of a former Rocks Pirates. So, to even just say, like, hey, like, I might have not won if I fought you fair and square, like, you know what? Lucci caught the L, I will admit. That's why you see the title of this video. It's a LL Lucci. But, you know, he won the war, right? It's like Luffy or Kaido, right? Or Whitebeard even. We could say Whitebeard. It would be stupid to take him head on. That's why we had to stab him a couple times in the chest. Like, it's a necessary measure. But enough with the Lucci cope though. Well, what's up?
No, I was going to say, like, you mentioned the Rocks Pirate thing, and I was going to throw something up, but then I was like, you can't actually use that. Because, you know, in this chapter, we learned that Bakens was a freeloader, but on Mads. But we don't know her capacity on Rocks. So, like, her being strong is something there. But, like, more and more, I'm just, like, wondering, like, how divergent these two characters can possibly be.
Yeah.
Because, like, that, I think that's another thing that Oda wants us to focus on. We talked about it a lot, where it's, like, last chapter with the whole Bonnie and the alternate timelines, where it's like, is this Oda's way of showing like alternate timelines in our reality? You have two clones, exact same people. This is what Stussy looks like. This is what Bakens looks like. And they're the same person, same genetic blueprint, but it's the decisions, it's what they followed. And I wonder how deep we're going to get into all that. And honestly, right now, it seems like we are going to get deeper into it. But, you know, that is a fair point. Like, Rocks, we don't know if she was strong. Maybe she was a freeloader on there. Maybe she wasn't. We don't really know.
Maybe Miss Bakens was the Nami of the group. She was strong, but not super strong.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Imagine bad timeline Nami, right? Rocks
bad
disband.
Timeline Nami.
Yes, Straw Hats disband, right?
Wait a minute. Miss Bakken is always looking for money.
Yeah.
The connection, bro. The connection.
And then she imagined this. She's like, "Oh, I had a kid with Luffy. Oh my god. They had a Level,
and it's Tomorrow Black.
Oh, it's Tomorrow Black.
Yeah, Nami's walking around with Tomorrow Black. Look, it's Luffy's son. It's him, guys. And then he's like, I'm Straw Hat Luffy. Join my crew.
But like right,
yeah,
the bad timeline Nami, and then she joins Mads, and then like Nami's not really a scientist. Usopp made the staff, right? Like she learned with various stuff, but like you know what I mean? She would be a freeloader in a group of scientists, right? Like Frankie, Chopper, even Robin is talking more with Vegapunk than Nami, right? And that tells you that Nami would be the freeloader in Mad. So like Bakens might be the Nami of the Rocks
bad
pirate.
Timeline Nami.
Yeah, and this is the good timeline Nami. That's a vampire succubus. That's
crazy. I
can't
wait until One Piece gets signed on by Marvel, and then we see this in the Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse movies.
Oh, that'd be crazy. One Piece in the
yeah, just One Piece in there, like out of nowhere, like it's Mr. Elastic or Mr. Fantastic, and then it's just Luffy. It's like, oh,
Kid is a bad version of Magneto.
Everywhere.
Kid is the worst timeline Magneto.
Yeah, that'd be kind of goofy. I would like that.
Vegapunk is Mr. X, right? Or Professor X and Mr. X.
Yeah,
Professor X, yeah.
Like a version Professor X. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So going on, though, we learned that Stussy is actually the ally that Vegapunk contacted, and I think the main sentiment, I guess, a thing a lot of people are like going up about, like, how did she even answer the Den Mushi in the first place when Vegapunk called her? Like, how did Lucci and Kaku not notice? Lucci is fighting. Lucci is fighting Luffy. That's fair, right? He's fighting Gear 5th Luffy. He can't concentrate. Kaku is actually right beside her. Like, do you not find it strange when she's like, assisting you in escaping Vegapunk? I guess I'll have to do it then. Like,
yo, go back into that call, because we said
funny.
If Stussy were it, then how did she answer the Den?
Yeah, how did she answer it?
She'd have to be next to me. We're like, nah, but then apparently Kaku's just deaf. Apparently giraffes just don't have good hearing. Like, I don't know.
So last week, one thing that people were saying was like, oh, she's a bat or a vampire. Maybe she used, like, you know, like sonar waves to like hit him. But in this chapter, she whips out the Mushi, bro. She whips out the snail. So it kind of kills that already.
Sonar, not the echolocation.
Yeah,
she's
she
like,
uses echolocation. But no, dude, she actually just calls him. And then another thing that me and you kind of hopped on board with, or at least I did, was, well, why did Shaka say last chapter, even in the Viz, that the fight was a 2v7? Why did he count Stussy as an enemy? But in this chapter, he kind of dials it back and says, oh, I was taken by surprise. I didn't think that she would still be loyal after 20 years with them. So he probably just didn't think that she would follow through with helping them, which I guess could make sense. But yeah,
now, the way I read that was like, so her loyalty to me was kept secret even after she spent 20 years as one of their agents. So, like, to me, does he know Stussy was one of their clones and that they were in CP0 and he doubted that after being there that she was loyal, or that someone knew that she was loyal and he didn't know that she was still loyal that entire time?
It sounds like it might have been the latter. I was kind of going on with the first one, but I think it could be the latter too. Like, maybe the other Vegapunks didn't tell him, which would be kind of strange considering this is Shaka, and the people who brought this up was, like, I think it was Pythagoras or Edison, or maybe even both of them. So it's like, bro, like, you guys sync up every day. Like, how did you not know that she was still somewhat loyal?
And that was the exact, because the way, you know, the events of this chapter aside, right? Like, I love this chapter, but the questions that we brought up prior are a problem, and we're not wrong for them to, like, Stussy answering the Den Mushi in front of everybody, right? It's like, that's weird. Sure, let it slide. But then, the lines here, it's like the way we talked about it last time. I was saying the only way it makes sense is if somehow there was like some kind of mental block that Vegapunk could put in the original one so that the satellites don't know. But like here, it almost sounds like only Shaka was left in the dark. It's
only
like,
Shaka didn't know.
Yeah, and then but then if you take in, I'm curious how the Viz will translate this, to be fair. But like the way you took it was, they weren't sure if she was still loyal, but then they called her and were like,
yeah, they tested the waters, right?
Yeah, and they're like, when it would be reckless to call her now, but like, what would it be reckless? Like, if she wasn't loyal, then why would it be reckless? She's still on the enemy side, right? Like, there's a few things that are like, I want to go back and like really figure out, but there's still like a way forward where it will make sense, right? Like, I feel like, like I think that's kind of like the not the problem, but like the wall that everyone keeps walking into with this arc. Like, how is Lucci gonna fight Luffy? Well, he's awakened, right? Like, who is the person that took him out? Well, it's Stussy. And why is she? Because she's a Mads clone from the Rocks Pirates. Like, the craziest
how
shit
do
to
they get in
explain
contact with her? Well, nobody heard the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's kind of how we have to go at it. And it's One Piece. Like, here's the thing. Like, we try to take it really seriously, but sometimes One Piece just be kind of goofy. It just be like that sometimes.
Yeah, and like, I mean, there's a lot of ways you could just figure it out. But at you know, while this is a core, like, you could say that this plot development is not super essential to flesh out, but it is a core plot element right now. Like, it is a major part of the thing. The whole plot twist is surrounded by Stussy. So, like, you could say, like, it's not meaningful, that call happening, but like, kind of is, but like you could brush it aside as one of those things where it's like it's not super meaningful. You could explain like, oh, Kaku just like thought it was a call from the pleasure district or some bullshit.
Yeah,
right?
Kaku thought she was ordering some pizza. That's all it is.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. We'll twist the narrative a little. We'll twist the narrative a little bit to fit Oda's standards here.
Yeah.
So going on though. She mentioned something really interesting that we talked about on your live stream, but she says that her authority is the same level as Lucci's, so she can't override his orders. And then somebody in the comments brought up something really interesting, because later in the chapter, I guess like a page down, we learn that Edison actually stops the Seraphim with his order. But now that he stopped the Seraphim, could the other satellites order the Seraphims as well, since they're all in the same hierarchy, or does that mean no? Because, I mean, it seems like it shouldn't be able to happen unless the OG Vegapunk comes in now, or the Gorosei. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting that they brought that up, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't override his orders and stop the Seraphim anymore, because I have the same level as authority.
Yeah, and then, like, the person I think was basically saying, like, is proximity at play here? Do they have to be closer? But, like, I don't know. It's kind of weird because then the same logic would apply to the Stussy thing. Stussy would just have to walk up to them and be like, stop. Yeah. And then they should stop.
But that didn't happen.
And then in the, like, Edison had to get closer. Had to put himself in the line of fire.
I wonder if this will be a giant plot point. Because, the theories of there being a satellite traitor are pretty big out there. I didn't realize how many people fall in line with the whole, like, traitor being amongst the Vegapunk. But if there is a traitor amongst the Vegapunks or the satellites, then if they order the Seraphims to attack the other Vegapunks, then technically the satellites can't override that. Only Vegapunk and the Gorosei could, but Vegapunk is missing. So, I mean, if there is a traitor amongst them, this would be the best time to come out. I'm not on board with the traitor theory. But for those of you out there who are, I feel like this is, this is do or die right now.
I realized something we didn't even talk about in the live stream. Which, by the way, guys, that live stream was probably one of the most fun ones because we just went. There's a whole Bible. There's a Bible arc. There's a Bible
arc in the live stream. So check it out on Provision VOD's channel.
Yeah, no, it's on my main channel now. That they spread out. They switched up the live stream stuff. So I keep them there. Yeah. But I realized it might be the numbers. Lilith is the lowest number satellite, isn't she? She's 6. So it might be Edison is because he's the highest number.
So you think that's how they're going to go at it? Like, boop, 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 boop?
Yeah, like Shaka would have the highest authority amongst the satellites.
Yeah, that could be a
honestly thing. That's probably where it is. But then again, it still doesn't explain the whole... Because... regardless, Lilith should have higher authority. Like, they should listen to her, right? But they didn't, and Edison had to get closer. So it's a little
I don't think she finished her sentence, right?
What exactly is she?
She said, hey, Seraphim, listen.
Listen. Oh, okay.
And then it got cut off. So they didn't, like, ever, like, hear her full order.
True.
But yeah, so since we're at that part, Edison and Lilith both make it out on scene. Mihawk ends up coming out, and Zoro ends up clashing with him. Which, a lot of people are like, yo, like, do you see those sweat beads on his forehead? Does this mean that Zoro is finally Mihawk's level? And I don't know how we can really come to that conclusion. Because this is like a kid clone Mihawk. This isn't the OG Mihawk, right?
Yeah.
Like this isn't Mihawk in his prime. This is like kid Mihawk. It's kind of like when Zoro was fighting like the baboons that copied Mihawk's style. If Zoro beats the baboon, it's like, well, cool, he beat like an imitator. If Zoro beats the Mihawk Seraphim, yeah, that's a major W, and it shows that he's on the right path, and we all can agree that he is. But I don't think this means that he's Mihawk's level yet.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
He's getting there, though, for sure. I mean, like, look at this.
Yeah, the fact that the Seraphim as, like, is a cyborg, right? Like,
yeah.
As a cyborg, and I was talking about this, like, we saw Boa show emotions, but, like, fear is a different one. And, like, robotic fear is crazy. Like, and we don't know to what extent these are cyborgs or whatever, but this is sweat, and this is the same S-Hawk, Shock, I like Shock.
Bro, imagine programming sweat into your robots.
Yeah, and then, like, this is the Shock that ran up Blackbeard, and no sweat. Sliced an island in half.
That is true. Blackbeard, I wouldn't say he clashed with them, but he like blocked an attack, and Blackbeard was sweating. But now it's like the Seraphim sweating. It's like, yo, who is this monster?
Where was the sweat there, right? Like, and then that's like it's so crazy because there's so much within this like strip of panels right here. Because when you look at the dialogue, it's like on top of that, he's like, Zoro's like, on closer inspection, you're not the same. You actually have a spark of humanity still, which insinuates that Mihawk is a sword.
Go for it. Oh my gosh. It all comes back to that. I was about to say, yo, did you notice that Zoro is only using 2 swords?
Yes. I said that. I was having copium. I was like, please don't be using 3. But he's using 2. Okay.
When Zoro was fighting Kaku, he was using 3.
That's because Eni's lobby people.
Nope. Zoro was using 3 against Kaku. Yo, Zoro was like, he was like a worthy opponent.
So you're saying Shock is weaker than Kaku then, in Zoro's eyes? Because we know that when Zoro he uses more swords when he needs more ability, more strength, right? So like when he didn't have 3 swords, he's like, damn it, I wish I had my 3 swords. I think that was like the Ryuma fight, right? Like he's like, damn, I can only use 2 swords here. But like, so you scale Mihawk or Shock that way. I could see that. But it's like, going back to the humanity thing, I wonder what that means for Mihawk, right? Like,
so the humanity thing, I think, is more so about all the Seraphims in general. Because I made my video about this chapter a day ago. But with the Seraphims in this arc, as the chapters go on, we learn more and more that there is actually a human behind that. Like, it's not just a clone or a robot. Yeah. Like, with the Boa Hancock Seraphim having emotions, with this one having a spark of humanity, like, even them being able to, like, do what they think is best to, accomplish their orders last chapter, like, coming up to the Labo phase, like, these guys are thinking they're actually just kids in a way, right? Yeah, like, but these aren't just, like, killer robots from outer space. I feel like this is setting up the clones to maybe getting their own freedom one day.
Oh, yeah,
but
100%.
I don't know.
No, but like the way I see it, right? Because he says on closer inspection, you're not the same. So you're not the same refers to Mihawk, like the original Mihawk. So he sees him and he's like, it's on site. This is Mihawk, right? And then he on closer inspection, he's like, no, the difference between you and Mihawk is that you have a spark of humanity, which is like an interesting thing is like you mentioned, like the Boa thing, but I think Jinbei one is the best one because Jinbei as a character is very stoic, and then when they saw the kid Jinbei, they're just like, is it his kid? They didn't like know what to do with that. They just thought it was mini Jinbei, right? Like the difference between that and real Jinbei wasn't the emotion side of it. Real Jinbei doesn't talk either that much, right? Like until Who's Who starts spouting racist stuff, like Jinbei probably wouldn't talk to Who's Who, right? Like that'd be a silent fight, one of the most awkward fights in all of anime. But truthfully, I would prefer sometimes a silent fight sometimes. But like, and in this case, it's like, I think it was the progression, right? With Boa, we saw, or Jinbei, the Jinbei one was the first one. We saw like it was, similar. We didn't really know emotions. Amazon Lily, we didn't see emotions. Then with the Boa one, we saw a little bit of it. Then Vegapunk says like they have their own ability, limited processing ability to make decisions. And then we see that Zoro is like, no, you are human compared to Mihawk, the guy I trained under. And I wonder if also like the spark of humanity thing is like Zoro is trying to reach that. Like Mihawk has no humanity in him, so Zoro wants to do that too. Is that the progression Zoro's going
It's really interesting because I didn't read it like that whatsoever. Like when he says, now that I've had a closer look at you, there's actually a spark of humanity in there. I think it's because he just thought that these were pacifistas and they wouldn't have humanity because they're just robots. I didn't think that he was necessarily referring to this being in relation to Mihawk.
That's interesting because I didn't like. I took it as the same way as when the Straw Hats saw Jinbei, the mini Jinbei. Yeah. They didn't see it as a clone, as a thing. They saw it as a kid, but like the kid was fighting them, so they had to like, they weren't gonna kill it, but they were fighting it, right? And I would imagine that's what Zoro saw here, even so even though he sees Mihawk there, he's like, what? If Zoro spoke more, maybe he's like, did Mihawk have a kid and never tell me? Did Mr. One and Mihawk have a child?
Though, like the gags are kind of reserved for like Usopp and Nami and Sanji and them, Frankie. Like Zoro isn't exactly a memester, and plus he's seen the Seraphims firsthand already. Like he saw Lucci give them orders, he saw Stussy like coming in, he saw Lilith trying to give them orders as well. like he can probably put the puzzle together that these are like pacifistas or they're being controlled.
It's interesting also because right after that line, the strip of it, he also says, "What the hell are you?" Right? Yeah. So it's like it makes everything much more convoluted because that could be also skewed in either direction of what we're talking about. Yeah. Because on the pacifista side, he knows Kuma like didn't have any humanity, but then he sees the humanity. Versus on my side, it's saying like he's just like, wait, like you actually have humanity versus Mihawk doesn't. Like, what are you? You know what I mean? So even in that kind of thing, man, I need to see the viz for this. And yeah, I'm not saying that these translations are bad. The viz could be equally as vague, and that could just be Oda's conversation here. And that might be saying more about what these Seraphims stand for, right? How they're adjacent to pacifistas, and they're adjacent to their originals too. They're not like either. They're somewhere in between. And like you're saying, they're probably going to have their own like character arc that's very, very important in terms of emotion.
But going on though, we see, speaking of the Seraphims and emotions even, we see that Sanji ends up saving Edison from the Jinbei laser. And we also see that Lilith is shedding a little tear of joy that Edison is A-okay.
Yeah.
And I like that because mainly it shows that, you know, she does care for the other Vegapunks. A lot of people were saying that she might be the traitor and that she doesn't care about them, but I feel like her shedding a tear for Edison is kind of the opposite, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like even when she thinks he gets blown up, she's like, oh, wait, no, it can't be. And then she's pretty relieved that he's safe, so I think that's another thing right there.
We commented on this before when Atlas was down. We're like, do they even care about Atlas? Like, we don't even know.
Well, like, apparently they're treating Atlas, right? Like Atlas was priority. They're like, we got to bring her back. Yeah. We gotta operate on her.
Yeah, Lilith was the one who was running. Like, we need to get her treated, right? I think she was the one who shouted it, something like that. But
for being evil, I mean, Lilith is definitely the least evil out of all the Vegapunks. I mean, I'd consider her to be the nice one.
Yeah, like. I brought this up on the stream, like the thing about good and evil is it's subjective, right? Like evil in this context or even in general could just be selfishness, right? Everything that we've seen Lilith do is selfish, and that can be turned into an evil way. And what's interesting about that is that could also be seen as a very good thing, right? Luffy has been described in the very same light when Kobe described Drake, or when Kobe described Luffy to Drake. He said that if you're on Luffy's side, you're like you're the closest, but if you're not, then you know. And what does it say about Luffy? Like, he's not an altruistic person who cares about all human beings. He's like, he cares about his friends, right? That's a selfish thing.
Yeah.
But my question to you and your thing is like, to me, the way Sanji's hair was drawn when he got Edison, I thought that was Lilith. Like on stream, I was like, damn, Lilith is flying. That's crazy. And I was like, wait. Curly eyebrows.
Nope. It's the wings of the Pirate King.
Yeah, and so like I'm like sitting there like, yo, no, is Lilith, because we still don't know Sora. Like Sora, Judge, like she when Judge meet her in the Mads process, and like, is Lilith a clone of Sora, right? Like it could be that, but then that's really gross. And I'm wondering, like, do you think that Lilith is a clone of Sora? And does your
I've never even heard that theory before.
It'd be gross, but I feel like we're going to a place. Look at the way they drew Sanji's hair. I'm like, yo, it looks like a little. Maybe that's just copium. Because I
think it's just Sanji, like, you know, the wind hitting Sanji's hair back.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Sanji trying to mimic Sora.
A younger Sora, just like how Stussy is to Bakans. A younger Sora.
I guess we'll find out when we get here in the anime too, because we'll see the hair color.
Yeah.
Like if if that's the case, if Lilith is a Sora clone, then we would assume that she has blonde hair, unless Vegapunk for some reason dyed it.
Well, oh yeah, that's true. So, and the other thing is, you could this is stretching. I was gonna say, like, you could say Sora was selfish, right? Because she wanted to protect her kids and stuff like that, rather than see the science and the cloning and taking away the stuff.
She's selfish, man. Yeah, so Sora's the worst.
Stretch that in a weird way.
Sanji's mom is god awful. I can't believe that she cared more about her kids than science.
Let
me tell you, Par, when I have my kids, I'm about to like turn them into a toaster or something.
Yeah, see, I knew bringing that sentiment here. I couldn't bring it on mine because we have a wholesome stream.
Yeah,
but like,
I'm gonna tape a toaster to their feet.
Tell them they're
blenders on their arms. They're gonna be a monster.
yeah, you were born a conqueror, and they just have lightning knees and shit. Like, oh my.
So
goodness.
going on though, we see that Lucci and Kanku have definitely been subdued with Sea Stone. Most likely Sea Stone cuffs. I don't know what else that could mean. And then we get the dialogue that Stussy is coming along with the Straw Hats off of Egghead Island. Which, I mean, this is a great Nakama. Maybe not even a Nakama, but like even just an ally. Like, Stussy isn't really a joke, and I see a lot of people saying that Stussy might just be the 10th and final Straw Hat. Which, I guess that's fair, but I feel like we still need to see more from her personally. Like, it's too sudden, Luffy's not even here. Like, I feel like we're missing a lot of interactions with Stussy.
Yeah, I mean, here, I'll say, I said it on my thing, like, Stussy's one of those characters, I'm not complaining. If we see more of Stussy, I'm not complaining. What else can that tongue do? You know what I'm saying? But, like, the real thing is that we were, you know, when we got the box for Stussy, you were throwing out, like, the rocks thing could mean that she's the 10th Titanic commander. I think a lot of people still see that. But if she were to join the Straw Hats, that'd be such an interesting parallel, because she is like, Buckingham, Stussy, whatever, was canonically on Rox's crew. So then for the clone to be on Luffy's crew, that's kind of cool. That'd be kind of
cool. Yeah. No, that would be kind of cool. Just the name itself.
And like, I wonder what ramifications there are for being a clone, right? Like, you don't get the memories, I guess, but like you do, because we saw with the Jinbei, like they had the similar abilities, but like how much of that
could be combat data too.
Yeah, like combat data, like there might be some like memories there that we don't really know about, and that could be the reason why, as a clone, she was the perfect person again to CP0. She had like knowledge about rocks, or I don't know. I think that's honestly something that got glazed over too on my stream in all conversations. I feel like it will be. Is how did Vegapunk even get that mole in CP0? You're telling me was it Robin who freaked out, the highest intelligence agency in the world? How did you get a mole in that? And then like, let alone a rocks pirate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're the intelligent. How do they not know who the rocks pirates were? Like, they should know, right? Like, they should know who Bakken's look like. Right? There's so many still.
Maybe because they know that Vegapunk made Stussy, they're like, oh, it could probably follow orders a good amount, you know? Like, it's on our side. But that's
even weirder, right? Because like, if they regarded her as like a Seraphim, why are they treating her like this, right? Like, wouldn't they have a retainer, right? A retainer. The same way the Kuma had a retainer. Like the S-Bear. The same way they had, S-Kuma had a retainer. If they knew that she was a clone and that they needed like a chip to control her, wouldn't she have a retainer?
But to be fair, like, she's a clone, so I would put clones on a different level than Seraphims, just because clones seemingly don't get controlled, right?
Yeah, but like, then
she's acting of her own free will.
So do you think? Because here's the other thing: she's not a Vegapunk; she's a Mads clone, and Mads was disbanded. So you're telling me a disbanded organization was allowed to get a clone in the CP0? You know what I mean? This was Mads is prior to the world government controlling Vegapunk, right? Mads is pre-world government Vegapunk, and somehow they trust pre-world government Vegapunk. There's like, I feel like you have.
It could have been a trade too, because remember, Mads was a team for world peace. Regardless of like Queen, Judge, and Caesar.
But we know the world government doesn't like world peace. That's why they disbanded it, right?
But I mean, the inventions are crazy though. So maybe like Vegapunk traded Stussy to get on the government's good side and to get funding in the first place. So like, hey, like, this is what we can do, or I can do. I'll give you her, and then just give me some funding. And then he just started pumping out a lot of other stuff. There's a lot of possibilities with this.
When was Mads disbanded?
We don't know the exact time frame.
Yeah, we don't know. It was like 24 years minimum where Mads was still there, but we don't know when it disbanded. The reason why I ask is because maybe Stussy was like an orphan. Like an orphan. Just like how Big Mom and those kids would have been orphans that would have been brought into the world government. And like Lucci was an orphan, so they saw like, oh, this kid has potential, and we'll bring her in. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe she was just like this clueless kid, but little do they know that Stussy was actually a clone that Vegapunk had. So
but it's also hard because Stussy has the same name as Buckingham Stussy from the Rocks Pirates, so that kind of blows a hole in that one. I mean,
yeah,
because I feel like we're getting into semantics here.
Yeah,
because either way, it doesn't matter too much how she ended up with them. I feel like that's something that will be touched on later.
I feel like it falls in the same boat as like why the Gorosei, like the whole like we're probably gonna learn soon about what the Gorosei's agenda is, right?
Yeah, like it's something that's like I feel like you said, it's gonna be very important, but it's like right now, like we have no real clue. Like there's so many like options here. It's like playing Detroit Become Human, trying to get all the endings. It's like there's no way.
Yeah. And
So
that's what's crazy.
Yeah,
this is crazy right now.
The last parts of the Egghead, though, we get dialogue box that says, "Unfortunately, a truly unexpected development happened. Dr. Vegapunk's main Stella body has vanished." Which is interesting that this happens, or this is said on a narrator box, because usually narrator boxes, they supersede Luffy and the gang, right? If Luffy and the gang were looking for Vegapunk still, and Vegapunk was with Bonnie, we wouldn't get the narrator box. It'd be like, oh, Bonnie, where'd you go? Old man Punk, and then we'd probably just cut to Vegapunk in a room somewhere. But the fact that the narrator itself is saying, hey, like, he's missing, he's vanished. I feel like this is setting up Egghead for a giant plot twist. That somebody else has kidnapped Vegapunk. Not Kizaru, not the Gorosei, not Luffy and the boys, not the other satellites, not CP0. And, I've been heavy on the Blackbeard train for a minute, because we haven't seen Shiryu in a hot minute, and he notoriously has the invisibility fruit. You've been on the Lafitte train, since he's also another agent that can go stealthily into an island. And I kind of think that's where this arc is going. Do you have any thoughts about this?
No, I think like this isn't like. There's been a lot of things that we haven't been right on, but there's a lot of things. But a lot of those things that we haven't been right on, I feel like there are things that like nobody would really be right about. Those things, they're very difficult. And as we just talked about, figuring out what Stussy's background is one of those things. Like Oda is clearly out here to be a menace in terms of where things are going. But I think we've had our head on straight in terms of like the Lucci Kaku direction and certain things, right? And I feel like, the third party thing makes a lot of sense. Now, then we were wrong about the Stussy being the person that they called, but like those questions weren't answered and we just have to breeze by them. But Blackbeard, why preface Egghead with Blackbeard being everywhere? Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense that he's here too in some capacity. His crew's probably still here. And like you said, the two people that are left unaccounted for are arguably the best people in the series for infiltration of all sorts. And I think someone, and I'm not sure about this, but it's too hard to ask you for the actual kanji here, the raws here, but apparently the wording is very similar to how when Moria disappeared after Marineford, and Doflamingo said Moria just disappeared, vanished into thin air. And so the reason why Moria disappeared was because Absalom was hidden in Marineford the entire time with his fruit, and he's the reason why Moria went invisible and he disappeared. So that would be much of the same thing here, where Shiryu, the next person who has Absalom's fruit, would vanish someone to thin air, right? It'd be a different context, but similar wording, but you're tying the fruit to the wording. I could see it. And like you're saying, I think it would do a lot of things for Egghead as well, because the whole, like, remember when we started Egghead, it was like, is Vegapunk dying? What's happening to Vegapunk? How is Vegapunk going to die? What's the ending? How long are we going to be here? But I almost think that if this is Blackbeard, then what might be interesting is, awkward enough, we might actually find out in a cover story, since we found out about Pudding being taken away in a cover story and in the chapter at the same time. So who's to say that Shiryu and Luffy aren't just like walking Vegapunk away in a cover story and in the manga? Like that, this is crazy as it sounds, it happened
Vegapunk's
already.
Wild Invisible Adventure Volume 1.
Yeah, and like I think what that does for Egghead is it speeds up things. It makes it so that whatever happens here is going to be explosive. It's going to end because Luffy's goal, like you said on my stream, you said that technically Luffy's taking an L here, because if he said he would take Vegapunk off the island. So if he's not doing that, he's failing his mission, right? And so you know, I can definitely see it being like, we need to find Vegapunk. All the satellites would be concerned. Luffy would be concerned. Yeah, they leave the island, but the next place they'd go to would beeline towards somewhere where Vegapunk is. And if it happens to be that Blackbeard is that person, boom, we have the catalyst towards their fight. So I think this is a crazy thing. I don't know if we are hitting the right answer, but I feel like we are, because at the same time, how many more options can we possibly exhaust? I mean, not to spoil anybody in the chat, but a goddamn Gorosei member is on the way here. Like, how many other options?
Crazy events.
Yeah, like we can't say like a Gorosei member stole Vegapunk here. Like Blackbeard makes the most sense in my opinion.
And one more thing with the Blackbeard thing that we bring up like every week too, but somebody took down the defense systems. We don't know who did it. And now that we know that Stussy is the ally, it makes even less sense, because she was nowhere near the control room. She was actually on the bottom floor. So what's up?
Unless she's a quadruple agent who's backstabbing at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be crazy, but like I don't know. I think third party makes more sense. But yeah, as you're saying.
So going on though, we cut over to Sphinxed Island, which is you know, I forgot if we were the ones who talked about it, but we were like, yo, like Weevil's gonna be on this island. He's gonna be waiting for Marco. And technically that kind of happened. I mean, Marco showed up, Weevil was here, no longer here, but we learn what transpired while Marco was gone. We learn that some Marines have showed up, and you know, I call them Marines, but let's be real here. We call them the homies and the DMs. The homies showed up to Sphinx Island trying to get Whitebeard's treasure, just like we would, right? I think you said that you'd also beat up a couple of kids for Whitebeard's treasure, and I agreed. I gave you the thumbs up emoji.
Yeah. All right, Sai. All right, Sai.
What's up?
I thought pirates were the bad ones. I thought pirates were the villains.
In the story of One Piece, it is great. Pirates are bad. There's some bad Marines.
Yeah,
like
pirates are bad.
Everyone's bad, right?
Yeah, so how does it feel to be saying that the innocent child, he doesn't see the world, he's just seeing for it as it is.
He didn't pay his heavenly tribute, Par.
But he's just like, the Marines were like pirates. They were the real pirates.
Well, you know what?
The Marines
I can't wait to introduce that kid. I can't wait to introduce that kid to some real pirates minus these guys. If they think these guys are bad, you know what? Throw them in Wano. Throw them in Udon prison. Have them make smile devil fruits. Have them drink the poison water. You know what? All I gotta say, the kid doesn't know anything about pirates, bro. If he thinks this is bad, he hasn't seen anything yet. You know what? Throw this kid in Kokoyashi Village.
Weevil's a real pirate. How dare you slander our
Weevil is Whitebeard's son.
Comment section,
and this is Whitebeard's hometown.
How dare you slander the warlord, Edward Newgate's offspring?
I'm not slandering him. I'm saying
he's a real pirate.
He's a real pirate, but let me tell you right now, this is the real pirate's hometown. This is Dada's village, bro. Like, of course he's gonna stick up for it. That's like saying Luffy won't stick up for like a Windmill Village. He would. Any pirate would stick up for their hometown. That is why pirates go to other villages and destroy other hometowns.
He's not defending Shanks or Garp's hometown.
You know what? Bottom line, I can't wait to see this kid meet Don Krieg. We'll show him what a real pirate looks like. Amen, Par, right?
Yo, honestly, real talk, this kid solos Don Krieg. This kid has conquerors, bro.
Does he?
Yeah, look at it. He said he stood up to a gunman. You're Marines.
Oh my gosh.
And he said, "Not my little brother. Get out of here." And he's like, "No, that's a conqueror baby right there."
I mean,
don't slander that kid. This is a G.
I mean, it's cool that he stuck up for his brother, but I don't know if that's like a conqueror's hockey
feat. That's a conqueror's feat, bro.
That is not a conqueror's hockey feat.
Out of all the babies we've seen, these are the babies that have conquerors. Ace did the same thing. What did Ace have? Conquerors. Ace did the same thing. Don't touch my little brother. And then he shouted, and then they stopped. This is Conqueror's.
You know what? This boy's I'm gonna grow up through the series. I'm gonna find more instances of people sticking up for one another that don't have Conqueror's hockey, because I feel like there's a plethora of them.
No, but you have to find like 5-year-old kids. You have to find 5-year-old kids.
We can't limit the pool to 5-year-old kids.
No, because as you age, you should have more balls to stand up for yourself.
Here's how to neg this though. When
his balls haven't even dropped.
Ace said, "Don't touch my brother." Guess what? He activated Conqueror's hockey.
Yeah, that's because it was a precarious situation.
All right, this is precarious.
Because
He's like, Sean, what are you talking about?
No, he succeeded.
It doesn't get more precarious.
He succeeded. He doesn't care about the granny. The granny's not his little brother. If they were shooting Dodon, Ace
so
might not
if
have
somebody were about to
activated
kill
Conqueror's.
Dodon, you don't think Ace would have activated Conqueror's Hockey, saying, "Please don't hurt Dodon or don't hurt her"?
Well, Dodon is different. See, Dodon's a badass.
No, but what do you mean? The
Granny's defenseless.
The grandma could be Dodon to this
See,
kid.
the thing is, we'll never know because Weevil showed up, the real hero of the story,
And
not the Marines, not the world government. Weevil.
You know, speaking of Weevil, the bad guy here, when he does show up, we actually see the Marines shake a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to bring up this panel because I
you think it's actually? I mean, this could be like slight Conqueror's Hockey or just his presence, or it could just be Weevil swung and he didn't even notice yet. But like, what do you think that is? I mean, I guess it's kind of like footsteps, right? It could be Weevil's big body like slapping the ground because it says plod.
Yeah.
But he does have like that shaking. I don't know. It's interesting, but Weevil just like completely destroys the good guys here, which is really sad to see. We see the good guys, yeah.
He has the reputation that garners this kind of reaction, right? Like,
yeah.
It makes sense. Like honestly, like, you know, there's a lot, like Luffy honestly doesn't have the presence. Like, you don't look at Luffy and you're like, that's scary, I'm gonna run. But Weevil, like, he doesn't even need to be strong. You see Weevil, like, this 15-foot, 18-foot man walking up to you. He's the size of a house. He's the size of your car, your soccer mom car. Like, this giant dude swinging a giant sword. Yeah, I would run. I wouldn't even need him to speak. And then he speaks, and then you hear his voice, and you're like, yeah, that's some crazy ass shit. I'm leaving, you know? Like,
I'm going home.
Yeah. Like, this, I wasn't signed up for this. You know, so he has a reputation, and apparently he soloed the entire Marine fleet that went after him. So, like,
and then they called for backup, and then Ryokugyu just packed him up off screen, bro. What?
Yeah, and so
that is crazy.
This is what I on stream I couldn't remember what it is. It's nearly like a 1-to-1, Chapter 645. You could see it when King Neptune was talking about Whitebeard protecting Fishman Island. It looked very similar to this, where Whitebeard was swinging his thing.
It's genetics, bro.
And then all the pirates are like, oh my god, and then
we can no longer deny his heritage.
And then here we see the pirates also running away from the hero of the story, Weevil. So
the
it's
hero
like
of the story. Oh, you mean the rat guy? You know what? Maybe this. Okay, so if the rat guy was the protagonist of One Piece, this would be his Sabaody archipelago, right? He just gets whooped by a warlord. You know, an admiral shows up later and stuff. Like, this is Sabaody 3.0. This could be
write the story. Let's write. What was this guy, Captain Rattle?
The rat guy is gonna come back in 2 years, and he's gonna have like hockey and everything.
I'll have you know, it's not rat guy. It's honey badger guy. Okay, all right. Let's put some respect on honey badgers. Okay, all right. But like, I mean, there's a silver lining to everything, right?
I can't stop looking at this guy.
Wait, where's his face?
Like the one where he says, "Remember, this place isn't government affiliated. You have no legal rights here." Like that panel.
Isn't it crazy? Because in the D&D
looks so
campaign,
scary.
I was supposed to act like that, like no. But this is, you know, my version.
This guy's creepy looking, bro. Like, maybe this guy has the true Conqueror's Hockey, but instead of Conqueror's Hockey, it's Fear Hockey. He just makes kids and elderly men like tremble.
All I'm saying is my CP0 Honey Badger Mink Agent guy looked way cooler as a fanfiction. I gotta actually message Sam about this because this is crazy.
But here's the thing. Ryokugyu shows up and he packs up Weevil off screen, and I feel like this might be a little bit deliberate. I could be reading too deep into this, but what if the reason why they didn't show it is because he does what he did to Shinobu and Queen, where he sucks all of the meat off of them, and then the next time we see Weevil, he's gonna be a handsome Whitebeard. Like almost a 1-to-1 young Whitebeard clone.
Side, that's genius. Yeah, I love good, that. Huh? Oh man, I wanted to meme on you so hard, but then you said a good thing.
I got you.
I was gonna say
That's
like
how it
something
is, bro.
like Ryokugu got slapped around on Wano, and he's like, "Oh man, I need to win. I need Akainu to love me
he's
again."
giving
so
us a win.
He's like, "Let me get Marco. And then so he went to Sphinxed Island. But I love that. That's
you know how
so
Weevil has
smart.
the scars.
Did you say that? Wait, hold on. I need to know. Did
What's
you
up?
say that like in your spoiler videos? This idea, or did you
Yeah.
come up with it now? Oh, it's so smart. Oh, it's so smart.
You know how he has like the scars on his head and stuff? I
Yeah.
feel like those would look really cool if he was like a buffed out character now. Like an
Yo.
absolute Chad.
What if the shocker is he doesn't look like Whitebeard, he looks like Shiki?
That would be kind of crazy.
Because a lot of
Considering the
people,
mustache and everything
Shiki's
already.
hair is, I mean, not Weevil's hair looks more like Shiki's,
Yeah.
and I forget, wasn't there a time like Weevil's mustache was crooked or something, and it didn't seem real or something like that?
I don't remember. I mean, it's been like 400 chapters since we've seen Weevil. Or since he was like introduced.
One Piece. I mean,
It's been a hot minute since I even remembered this character existed.
Yeah.
But speaking of Weevil though, Miss Bakken is asking Marco to go save him. Do you think that's gonna happen? I mean, he saved the village, but I mean, Weevil's still like not Marco's best friend, right? But like Weevil's been going around destroying division commanders and allies.
Yeah, but like the thing is, Marco's in debt to him now because this was his duty, and he left for Wano. He shouldn't have left Wano or for Wano. That was his own prerogative. His main thing was protecting Whitebeard's island, right?
Yeah.
Like he left for Wano because he's just like because Ace said that he would do it, but since he heard Luffy was doing it, he's just like, oh, I gotta show up for Ace's little brother, and
Dude,
then he didn't do much. And
you
then
know what always like is like a pet peeve to me when I think back to Wano and Marco. Back when he was on Sphinxed Island, he was like, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. Tell Luffy I can't make it. Instead, give him this note. And then the note just says, like, I'll meet you soon. And then he actually just goes there anyways. And I'm like, what? What is the point of... Like, throw away the note, man. Like, you know, of course you don't need it. Because later he's like, yeah, you know, I guess you don't need this note anymore. And it's like, of course not. Because you're here. The note literally said that you just show up.
That might be an instance of Oda having something he wanted to do with the note, and he's like, nah, it's whatever.
It feels like a minor retcon, because that's never paid off. It's just been like a weird plot point that just kind of existed.
It's so much so that I don't even remember it. I don't even remember what chapter that was. Well, I remember what chapter Marco thing was. It was like 909 or something, right?
I remember it because I remember when that chapter first came out, I was like waiting every week with bated breath, like, oh, what does the note say? It's from Marco. Like, he can't go over there. This is going to be a crazy note. It's going to be like some big revelation about Whitebeard or Blackbeard even. And then it's like, hey, Straw Hat, I'm coming to Wano later. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, you're here.
Yeah. So like, I know
you delivered the note.
To pull it back, I think like Marco will actually do something. To what extent, though, is different, right? Because, like, he is in debt to this main thing, but, like, it is also Weevil, right? Yeah. And like, maybe he talks to Bakkens and then he finds out, like, Weevil's legitimately his kid, or Whitebeard's kid, and he's like, all right, hold on, you're telling me Pops had a son? Like... He's a brother? Like, that's Marco's like, yo, I have to save my brother. You know, it might be something like that. It would feel a little contrived because, like, we're in the pirate world. It's like no one asked Weevil to protect them, right? Like, you know, Luffy is like, oh, it's a pirate world. Or Zoro, right? Like, it's a pirate world. People do their own things, right? But, you know, I'm a little... Because, like, Marco running up against Ryokugu. Right, like
Marco loses.
Yeah,
Marco's
like
Marco not gonna win that fight, bro.
Marco should know that. Like he himself should be like, me, Admiral.
Do you know how Marco was trying to fight King and Queen, and he was doing good, right? Like he was kind of staving him off. They couldn't really get any hits on him. But Ryokugu took both of them out, bro. Yeah, like he kind of like even off-screened him, and like Beast Part Fodder was helping him too. Now Weevil too? Young Whitebeard? Nah, dude. Marco ain't winning this fight.
Marco, you know, I like what you said though. I think either Shiki or Whitebeard, but I like the Whitebeard thing where he gets shrunk, he like suck plastic surgery into the real Whitebeard, and that's gonna be sick. But
Green Bull's doing us a lot of favors, man. First Shinobu, now potentially Queen, because we didn't see how he ended up, and then now we're about to get freaking Weevil. Like, this man is like a doctor almost.
Yeah, better than Marco.
This man's a doctor. And here's the thing too, like, let's say he doesn't fight Ryokugyu, and instead he waits for Weevil to hit Impel Down. Imagine Marco does a jailbreak, and he saves not only Weevil, but Doflamingo, Bon Clay, like all the random pirates that could potentially become allies later in the future. This could be the start of a giant jailbreak.
Weevil will go to Impel Down. That makes sense.
And do you know how, like you said, Weevil like kind of reminds you of Shiki?
Yeah.
Shiki was the only character that canonically broke out of Impel Down.
Alone, yes, true. First one, yeah.
So this could this could be kind of crazy.
Wait, yeah, I like this.
Impel Down 2.0. And you know what? Maybe Marco does help out. Maybe he goes around and he's like, all right, time to fight all these people and potentially break out Weevil, I guess. But I mean, that would kind of be suicide, though, right? Like, I mean, not a lot of people want to go to Impel Down, so you have to be really committed for this.
It would be, you know what'd be sick? It'd be sick. I don't know. Because I've always felt like Law is going to be part of Impel Down 2.0. And that's like, while we're focusing on Kid and Luffy, Law's on like a side story and his Impel Down because Doflamingo's there. So it'd be like Luffy, Crocodile, and then like Buggy. But then the flip is like Law and the Don Quixote pirates. You throw Weevil into that mix, that's kind of crazy. And like if it was Marco, like maybe Law's entire crew were taken or something. I don't know, like some kind of weird thing. And then Law would need to go or something. Like maybe Blackbeard took all the rubbings. His crew is all Impel Down. Law needs to go there. He has to save his crew and his old crew. And then Weevil, Marco, and Law team up, and that's an interesting one. The two doctors. The two doctors who abandoned Wano.
What if Caesar and Judge goes to Impel Down to also break out King and Queen? Because we know that they're captured too. So King and Queen are also in there.
They're in Impel.
I mean, we don't know if they're in. We don't know if they're in Impel Down, but we do know that Ryokugyu in his custody right now has Weevil, King, and Queen. Those are some heavy hitters, man. Like you throw all these dudes in Impel Down plus Doflamingo. Plus Bon Clay, like, this is, the jailbreak about to be spicy.
Can any of them, and any of the people we named read poneglyphs? No, right? None of them?
I don't believe so. Unless King has some, like, hidden talent because he's Lunarian.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I was like, if King is there, because there's the video I had where I still believe it, where, truthfully, it wasn't me who found it, I just put on display, there's a poneglyph in Impel Down, and I'm just like, that's really interesting. I wonder if that's ever going to be something. And people are saying, like, Doflamingo is in that cave, in that cell where the poneglyph would be right above him. So while he's chained, he's looking at it. I'm like, that's crazy.
Oh my god. He's just deciphering. He's like, so this is the letter A in English.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. But Doflamingo would 100% be in level 6. So. Like,
dude. I mean, I'm assuming all the people we named would be level 6, minus Bon Clay and Don Quixote family members. But a lot of these dudes be level 6.
You're talking about the guy who opened the gates of justice?
No. He's in 5.5.
Yeah, but they don't know about 5.5.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he would be in level 6, but he's currently in 5.5.
Oh yeah. He's hidden away. Oh, you're right. Right.
He got away.
He's the new guy, new Ivankov.
He's that guy now.
Yeah.
And then you throw King and Queen down there in the bottom level. You throw Weevil in there, bro. It's about to be a fiesta. It's game over, man.
Low key, I was hoping Ivankov was down there so we could turn King into a girl. Oh, the fandom.
Nuts. Goodness me.
That would be the chapter.
We'd all put sunglasses on and just read like. So on to the final parts of the chapter. We're running up here on time, but we see that Kizaru is checking the food for poison, and or I guess he had other people check for poison, and then we see that he's serving tea and biscuits to none other than Jay Garcia, Saint Saturn, one of the 5 elders. And I made a whole video talking about how, I should apologize to the Gorosei member. Some people are like, why are you apologizing, Sai? Why are you doing this? All those goofy comments out there. And here's the thing. I'm apologizing because I never thought these dudes would leave their room. 1,000 chapters, every movie, every video game, these guys never leave their dang room. If you don't think that them leaving their room is crazy, then go get your eyes checked. Go get lobotomized because you're not using it. Whether or not he's a fighter or not, whether he's coming here to just give an order like, hey, Seraphim, kill Vegapunk, and then he sits back and enjoys his tea and biscuits, it doesn't really matter. Just him actually doing something is fascinating, because throughout the entire series, they sit back and they're like, oh, the Straw Hat Pirates are at it again. Oh my god, did you see what's happening in the world? Akainu, why don't you send more people over here? They have done zero, zippity squat. Yeah. And now they're actually taking things into their own hands. Whether they fight, whether they simply give an order, it is still a huge thing that they're actually out and about. That is all I'm trying to say. The senior citizens are out to play. This is their day at Walmart. It's like when you let the convicts out to Target. This is a big day.
Yeah, no, I 100% is. I feel like in a single panel, Oda gave so much context to the Gorosei, this specific one, but the Gorosei in general, because we talked about it on previous thing, that prior operation. We talked at lengths in the previous thing, and I know we're pressed for time, so people who want to hear more about like the conversation around the Gorosei, we spent maybe a good like 45 minutes talking about everything about the guy. So go check out the live stream about that. It'll be timestamped. But the thing here, it's like, you know, when we saw Ohara, we saw them order the Buster Call, order the death of Professor Clover, and we saw like one of the Gorosei members regret it. Now, there's a discrepancy on who that one was. I honestly don't trust the anime to choose the right one, because the anime takes a lot of liberties, especially when it comes to like gray area things like that. They just like kind of choose somebody and maybe they retcon it, whatever. To me, I felt like it was this guy: the nose, the face, the eyebrows, it matches, the hair, the hat. Yeah, a lot of things matches to me. But some people are saying it was the Gonfal looking dude. But let that aside, we now get an understanding that context of like regret about that, or whatever that emotion was, might be meaningful. We get more depth. Like, let's look at the dialogue of each of the Gorosei member. Why? It's because this move is like, one, what did he say? Once a long time ago, I think what's happening now is truly a shame. That means he met Vegapunk at one point. Do all the Gorosei members meet Vegapunk, or just him? Did. And that's like the crazy thing, is like, we don't know, we do know, but there's so much context in this panel where it's like, now the Gorosei aren't just a full unit. They can be. It could be that the Gorosei set this, like, he drew the short end of the straw and he had to leave the room, like Sai is saying, like, oh man, I wanted to stay in my bunk bed. Like,
watch him be the weakest Gorosei member, but he's still super strong or something.
Yeah, like it could be that. And
there's something here.
On the flip side, you get this notion where who orders CP0? The Gorosei. And if the Gorosei ordered CP0 to kill Vegapunk, and then this Gorosei, Saint Jay Garcia Saturn, brings an admiral also over the head of Kizaru's actual boss, because he's not, technically he's not
out of the loop.
Yeah, technically he's not Kizaru's boss. Akainu is, and Akainu, you know, reports back to the Gorosei, but, you know, like, but in this instance, it's like this Gorosei member is making an admiral that we regard as one of the strongest people deliver him tea and crumpets. Like, there's so many layers to this panel, the scene, everything. And so going back to like the Gorosei ordering CP0, it's like, is this guy like going because they don't believe in CP0, or is he going because he doesn't want Vegapunk dead, and he's like, oh my god, the group wants to kill Vegapunk, but I need to save him because I met him in the past, or something like that. Like, maybe there's an agenda. Maybe Sword starts here. Maybe he's the progenitor of Sword. Like, there's so many levels to this singular panel, and I don't know how Oda does something like that, but like, oh man, it feels so great. And then his name is Saturn.
The fact that this one panel, or I guess one page, of an elder showing up outside of his room is so big, just shows how important this is. Like, this is a hot topic of debate, and I'm surprised by how many people are getting heated by this conversation of like whether the Gorosei are fighters or not. But it's 70%
of my stream.
Yeah, 70%.
1,000
seems.
people.
I saw another poll too. It seems like a majority of people do believe that the Gorosei will be fighters to some extent. Whereas even if it is like a minority and they do lose, there's still a good amount of people who think that they're not fighters and that they're simply figureheads. I honestly see both of them being right. There is no right answer because we have no real clue. But I feel like the name could be a clue because, like you said, his name is Saturn. Like, we were putting him on the same level as the gods. Like the sun, the Roman gods, he's the god of time. He's up there
Ancient
with Pluton,
weapons.
Poseidon, Uranus. Like, this is, that's not a throwaway name, right?
Yeah. And
it's like having a character named Blackbeard. We already knew that he was going to be a menace from the start. Like, that's just kind of like where it falls in line. Blackbeard, Whitebeard, Dragon. Like, these are names that have impact right off the bat.
Yeah. And like, so for the viewers listening to this, they're like, oh, look up these planets. Like we definitely did prior to this. Sai's been saying on this chapter for a long time. And then also on the stream, we talked a lot about, so we're breezing through a lot of that conversation, but it's like, at the end of the day, like, here we go again with how much nuance there is. Like, the thing that people brought up was like the Gorosei could be the 5 visible planets that we can see from Earth, which would bolster down Emu being representative of Earth, the Gaia, the mother of like all the Greek deities, right? To a certain extent, like I forget which ones are separated, but Gaia and Cronus, I believe, they came together, made like the Titans. The Titans had the kids were the gods, and so like. And now we're finally getting, and then here's another thing, right? Like the ancient weapons apparently are the planets we cannot see from our thing. So it's like, is that why Oda chose those ones as the one to defect? But we already know the reason why Poseidon's name was shown is like, it has the power to sink the world, and Poseidon was the god of earthquakes, primarily. And then Pluton, underworld, we already know so many, like a few context lines with there. Uranus is the only one that's the outlier, and Uranus is the outlier because it's a Titan that's had another planet, another one. So is Uranus a Gorosei? Maybe it was the 6th Gorosei member that abandoned them, right? And that goes back to a theory that I had, that I really like, is that the ancient weapons are just Joy Boy's like commanders, their top commanders, where we get Kaido have the 3 calamities. If you fast forward 800 years and you lose the context of Kaido and the people, you're just worried about the plague, the wildfire, and all these things, and you don't know that the plague is just a ball looking, scrotum looking dude, right? Like, you don't know that context, but like, it's at the end of the day, it's just Kaido's commanders. So in the same light, it could be that the Gorosei, the ancient weapons were all under Joy Boy's crew, and that's why Joy Boy guides them. But then that would fit in the context of apparently what Joy Boy had to apologize for something. We don't know if it was Poseidon, Uranus might have defected. There's so many different things, and then that could explain why, if they were the ones who made the Pluton, I don't know, maybe they weren't the ones with the Pluton blueprints, but there's man, Oda's wild for this name. Like, we even went as far on the stream to be like, does he have a devil fruit power? Like, does he have the power of Saturn? Like
Saturn itself, he becomes a planet. It must be a good day to be Jay Garcia.
Yeah,
and I know a Jay Garcia.
You do?
So yeah, I mean, he doesn't read One Piece, but I like to imagine the Jay Garcia stocks are definitely up there.
Yeah, he's sneezing every minute now because his name keeps on being said.
He just dies from this chapter being released. He just sneezes himself to death. He's like, oh,
God.
What?
So you better check on this person afterwards. You can't say that.
I don't believe in that. No. That's not
what do you mean you don't
thing.
believe in that? We're reading a story where manifestation is power. No, it's not.
That is 1,000% superstition.
No, wait, which part is superstition?
Today I will talk about you behind your back.
Oh, like the sneezing part?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna revisit this tomorrow and be like, Par, what time did you sneeze? And if you get the time wrong, we know it's superstition.
Okay, fair. But what I'm talking about, wait, you don't know my real full name. You said the bro's government name. But second thing, I was saying the dying part, like that's the part where you need to not speak into existence. And
no. He's fine. He's fine.
Oh my God.
Jay, if you're watching this video, which I'm sure you don't, just know that you're healthy and alive.
Yeah, you have a whole community, a few 10,000. God, oh God.
Godspeed. So one more thing with this last page before we start wrapping up. People are like, yo, Kizaru's bending the knee. Do you think Kizaru is below the Gorosei in terms of power based off of him serving him crumpets? I don't think so. I think it's simply that Kizaru personally has a lot of respect for people in high power. Kind of like when in Sabaody, when Luffy hit the Celestial, Kizaru was the one who wanted to go. Like he was up and at him. He's like, oh, let me handle this one. Like he's always had a respect for authority. So I feel like if you replace Kizaru with Sengoku or maybe even Akainu, Fujitora, like this might not have gone down the same way.
Yeah.
Ryokugu definitely would do this though.
Yeah.
Green Bull would follow suit.
Ryokugu is almost, it's like a Kizaru Akainu love child kind of thing at this moment. Because like I asked you on stream, it's like, would Lucci do this? Would Akainu do this?
Lucci would do this for sure.
Ryokugu would do this? Like how many people? And it's like Kizaru never felt like the lapdog kind of character. He felt like the lackadaisical, whatever how you say that, character that kind of just did his own thing when it benefited him. He had like an idea of what justice is. He was just doing his own thing, and he's super powerful. And like when orders came in, he was just like, "Yep, I mean, I'm just gonna follow them, right?" So like that's when they said prior operation. Yeah, I played with the idea maybe one of the Gorosei members ordered him, but even in that line of counter, even if I doubled down, I would not imagine Kizaru was delivering tea, serving tea and crumpets too. Like and there's nothing. It's just he's an admiral and he has his new fit and he's doing all that, and it's still like it's almost in like reverence, right? And it's almost like these are gods, but even Akainu isn't like that. Aokiji's not like that.
I think
like,
it does kind of tie back to his unclear justice too.
Does it? But like. Because like here's something what someone said, like in One Piece, how many people have scars and aren't combatants? And so they were saying that about Saturn. And so like they're like, oh, he's probably a combatant. And like I'm thinking about it the way this feels, like Kizaru, he feels like the mentee, and this guy was his mentor, right? Like it feels like
Zephyr Sensei, yeah?
Yeah, like it seems like that kind of a thing where like he's just like he's actually that powerful. Like Kizaru tries to pull a fast one,
going both ways.
and then Saturn just slaps his shit and sends him to Saturn. Like I don't know. Like I don't know how that goes.
Like I could see the Gorosei member being strong enough to warrant respect, but I can also see the title itself warranting respect. I think it's not separate. And with Kizaru being unclear justice, it kind of just seems like he's been one of the go-to members of the admirals that just always follows orders no matter what. Like he doesn't question it whatsoever. He just follows what he's given.
So here's a question then. Here's a question I think that's important. Can Kizaru kill this guy without any repercussions and no fullback? Because he's Kizaru, right? Like,
ain't no way. No.
Like what is it?
That's like assassinating the president.
Yeah, but like what I mean is like they're off on the boat, right? Like someone in my chat was saying like if Dragon does not know about this, fine. But this is Dragon's like fever dream, bro. This is Dragon is put it in your stream's context. He's jizzing in a sock right now about a Gorosei member off outside of his room. Like you know what I mean?
Fair. Like I mean. But and I'm not saying good protection though, right? Like it's Kizaru.
It is Kizaru, right? No, I'm not saying that, but what I'm asking is a hypothetical here.
Yeah.
If Kizaru wanted to, because he didn't like
the Gorosei member.
Yeah, like Akainu, right? Like if Akainu wanted to flee the world government because he actually hates the Celestial Dragons, like could Garp or Akainu, you catch them in this situation, is he not a donut by now? Like, you know what I mean?
No, I mean,
if you wanted to leave,
though, like you lose your job. The Navy would go after you.
It's
like
Kizaru though,
but there's
right?
no benefit. I mean, yeah, but like,
what benefits does he need from the world? It's Kizaru. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one's coming after Kizaru
from this though.
Yeah, I understand. Like he's not gonna do it. No, I'm not saying. But what I mean is more like. What I'm trying to get at is I feel like Kizaru is strong enough where unless this Gorosei is powerful, there shouldn't be people above Gorosei. I mean, not the Gorosei, the admirals, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is like, if this guy is not strong and he can't alone defend himself against Kizaru in this situation, then that means Kizaru and Akainu are the upper echelons and it's just Eam, right? And then the God Knights are just fodder, right? And I guess what I'm getting at is the more interesting plotline is, this guy is stronger than Kizaru, and this is a respectful thing.
I think it could go both ways. I think the story would work both ways and it would be completely fine. Like, even if this guy was weak, I think his title alone is like enough to warrant the respect. And it's kind of like the world, right? I mean, the presidents aren't the strongest people in the country. Like, I don't look at Joe Biden and say, yo, he boxed me to death. Like, I'm not like serving him tea and cookies because I'm like, Joe Biden would beat my butt to next Saturday. No, that's not the case.
Saint Joe Biden.
Yes, Mercury. Saint Joe Biden, gastric planet, out there. I want to put him on the solar system, but he's out there somewhere because we already have the planets taken.
Yo, I just realized we have the biggest big brain. What's the name of our what's the name of our collab stream when you come onto my channel?
The Milky Way.
The Milky Way.
The Milky Way, yeah.
And guess what all these planets are in? They're in the Milky Way,
they're in the galaxy. Oh, snaps.
Yeah, we are the galaxy and they're within us.
You know what? Maybe we've been foreshadowing Jay Garcia Saturn this entire time.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, this was us. This was us.
All you and me.
But I mean, this whole thing has been absolutely crazy. I think this chapter has definitely turned the fan base upside down. People are, rampaging around, destroying stores, burning houses down. Like this is nuts. Yeah,
and I said the same thing last chapter, but I feel like it's appropriate. Like, what happened? When in what world was 1072 and 1073 supposed to be like this? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even remember what happened in 1072.
Egghead Island is a crazy arc.
Yeah, like 1071 opened the year because that's official chapter of 2023, the first chapter. 1023 or 1071 gave us Elbaf, right? And like a breeze through everything.
Elbaf, and then they give us Garp going to Blackbeard. Good start.
1072 gives us one of the
big CP0 betrayal.
Yeah, one of the biggest betrayals in One Piece anime. The clones, Rock's Mads collab on a person, and then we find out she's a freeloader in the Mads team, so some of those theories were wrong. Like, there's so many things. And then this chapter,
Weevil,
like the name, like I feel like the chapter could have just been this picture. Like, it could have just been this. Like, this page could have been a chapter on its own, and it would have been just as impactful as a lot of end of Wano chapters.
And I think that's a crazy thing too. How much Egghead has been able to accomplish in so little chapters.
Because
this is definitely like a stepping arc. I feel like this still isn't like a huge arc that we're going to spend hundreds of chapters on, like Dressrosa or Wano or Whole Cake Island. This is still a stepping stone, and these arcs are usually the craziest ones.
Yeah, like when we were saying the live stream, like when we talked about this dude for, like, I talked about him for over an hour, but then you came in, we talked about him more, and I didn't think we would do that. I thought I was going to slander the Marines in front of you, but like we didn't even get to do that. And it's like, how did we talk about this one dude for so long? And we were like, looking at silhouettes and from chapter 395, talking about the Gorosei.
I'll never look at an old person the same again.
Yeah, like Mr. Senior, and like I just want to point out, this is Sai's channel. I love Sai. I love you guys. But there are receipts of Sai's apology video, but like he said some blasphemous things on my stream.
I'm pretty adamant. I've been making fun of the Gorosei for a while, bro. Like ever since they've been introduced, ever since I was a kid, I thought they were nothing.
See, the thing is funny, really, like you may not be wrong. We actually have not seen the Gorosei guy get up. This could be the same chair from that room. It could just be transferred.
Yeah, this is the same chair. He just actually can't stand up because his back breaks. Hey, that's a possibility. That is a possibility.
I wanted to give you that because, like, I was just like,
I needed a W here somewhere.
We've seen him like bow down.
We've never seen him stand up.
That's like he had
that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, he could be extremely weak. Like someone else said something really funny in the thing, and I gotta say it to you. Someone said that Hattori has the real agenda, and so the Gorosei guy's going to meet Hattori.
Yeah.
I was like, no!
Imagine at the port of Egghead, Hattori's waiting at the port, and then the Gorosei member gets on his knees. And he's like, all right, master, what would you like now?
Which light order? Should I strike from this world? Yeah.
Just the end.
I'm like, of all the things too, it's like Hattori's still a highlight of the chapter when he's talking to
Hattori theory has been around since the dawn of man. So before we end off, I have one question for you still.
Yeah.
In 2 sentences, what are your thoughts on MILF Manor?
I'm surprised you didn't give us the now that we know Stussy is 100% certified MILF. What is your thoughts about MILF?
No, God, that's gross. I just want to know your thoughts on MILF Manor.
Yeah, I didn't. Did you watch it though?
I haven't watched it. I've only seen clips, and it is the strangest show to mankind.
Did you watch
it? It is something.
So I watched a streamer go over like the entire because when it aired they had an extended clip of the trailer.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy, bro.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know the
beginning wasn't bad, the ending was worse. The ending was worse. I watched it with my wife the first half, and she was just like, "Oh, like this is kind of goofy, crazy. That can't be that bad." And then I watched the ending of it, and I was like, "No. Yeah, it's gross."
If you guys don't know what MILF Manor is, it's a bunch of moms on a dating show, which by itself, fine. That's cool, whatever. But the participants of the dating show, the guy counterparts, are all of the other mother's sons. And they all like live in the same house, and it is strange.
No, even okay. So there's layers to this. There's layers to this shit. So they didn't know that they signed up for the same, despite them flying to the same location for the show. They didn't know. And these dudes, like you can in their intros, you can hear the mommy problems, and then you were introduced to the moms, and you're like, oh, that's where the mommy problems came from. And the same place, same room. The mom and son, they have to sleep in the same room. So at the end of it, the end of it, the mom on the first day, she's going out slanging some shit and some other dude, and the son is just in disbelief. He's like in panic mode. He's just like, I have to stop. Like on the first night, and they chose the room with the jacuzzi, and the mom's like, do you want to use the jacuzzi? I'm like,
God, oh goodness me. I honestly don't want to watch the show.
Yeah, and you know what the best part is, guys? I don't know if Sai caught this. You know what channel it's on, right?
No, what?
It's on TLC, which, they have all the dating shows. Fair. But you know what TLC stands for? The Learning Channel. The Learning Channel.
Hey, we're learning today, boys. Time to buckle up those seatbelts, right?
Oh my God, some of these.
Oh goodness, yeah, no, it's like shows that make me cringe too hard. I can't watch it.
The Asian mom and son are probably the cringiest thing in I don't know if you saw the rest of it. They said some like I think we have maybe we have to come and collab on this. Some Asian cards need to be revoked. I feel like
what
other ethnicities have. The mom was just. So in the beginning of the thing, to give you guys some context, one of the guys, he said, so they interviewed all the guys in their reaction of seeing their moms as the potential dates that they had. So one of the guys with his mom, like it was mom and son in the interview. And the son said, yo, I was looking at it as like a draft, and I'm not trying to draft my mom first. And I was like, what do you mean? You're not trying to draft your mom at all? Like, what do you mean first, last, second? Like,
Believe it or not, I don't want to date my mom right off the bat.
That's exactly. Go watch.
I gotta try out a couple more people before I hit up my mom.
That's exactly how he said. And the mom goes, well, I'm good for you. Like, I'm glad you said that. And I'm like, what do you mean you're glad he said that?
The mom's like, I'm glad I raised them right.
Yeah, and then the Asian mom and son. I think the son had the least game from everything that I heard. Like, it was the most awkward, cringy. Like, I felt like I needed to stop the stream that I was watching the reaction. And then the mom,
FBI is like knocking at your door.
Yeah, and like the mom was just like talking about like slanging her thing in front of her son in like the, bro, that was crazy. I never like.
Jay Garcia, Disney roller coaster man. We can end it right there. Please no more.
But if you guys want to hear more of these kinds of conversations, maybe soon me and Sai, put a thumbs up in the comments.
Yes,
aside from your regular
we'll start like a non-One Piece podcast.
Yeah.
Where we talk about current events.
We do tend to like to talk about that.
And then we can invite other One Piece YouTubers, big or small, doesn't really matter. They can hop in and we just have a banned One Piece banter.
Yeah. Hopefully they can keep up with Sai's
and Par. I mean, Par, he heard the words like MILF Manor, and it was like the Winter Soldier. Par went off, man. It was like Bucky, like this dude activated Russian soldier mode, going crazy. MILF Manor, huh?
Well, technically, I am a dad now, so
Par's there, Woo. Next One Piece theory, guys. With that being said, make sure to check out Par. His channel is down below. It's all linked there as well. And for everybody who's watching, thank you so much for making it to this point. I am Sai, the legendary feet guy, and then this is Par Mezia, the guy that checks out Disney roller coasters and makes sure that all of the kids at Disneyland are safe. Something like that. I worded that horribly wrong, but it doesn't matter. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.